In 1981, Bill Smith took his kids to the Cloverdale indoor track where they tried BMX on a shared bike. 5-year-old Martine didn't win on her first try, but after getting her own ride, the family would spend the next 7 years on the road. She started racing at her home track in Langley, and her love for the sport would soon land her a spot on the growing Surrey Caps BMX team. She began racking up national wins on both sides of the border and found herself near the top of the standings. After missing out on the CABA title in '82 by just 6 points, she would capture the #1 plate just 1 year later. Heading south in the fall of 1983, she entered the Gold Cup Championship in Las Vegas and shocked the Americans. After drinking from the Champions Cup, things would even get better for the self-confessed tomboy. In '84, Martine would join the Canadian Factory Diamondback squad and her confidence would grow. One of her fondest memories is hanging in the pits with the likes of Harry Larry and the American team. When the Worlds came to Whistler in 1985, it was Canada's chance to prove that they were a force to be reckoned with. A nervous Martine got off to a slow start but found another gear and never looked back. Just 2 weeks after turning 10, Martine became a Canadian legend, winning gold in the 10-11 girls class and would stand on top of the world with the likes of Corinne Dorland and Sherry Elliott. Later that year, Canada's Golden Girl would go on to capture her second CABA title and then had her sights set on going to the ABA Grand Nationals. Heading into Tulsa that year, the newly crowned world champ was upstaged by the Americans, leaving Martine with some unfinished business. She continued to dominate her class in North America and went on to win the 1987 Canadian Grands in Edmonton. In the fall of her preteen years, she would make one final appearance at the ABA Grands in Oklahoma with one thing on her mind. A big pileup in her 20-inch final left her empty-handed once again, but she dusted herself off, grabbed her cruiser, and finally got that elusive ABA Grands win. In 1988, 13-year-old Martine could feel a shift happening, and as her love for the sport softened, she would soon retire at the end of that season with no regrets. She became the most decorated racer of her era, capturing more than 40 national wins and a world championship title, and did it all before her first day in high school. Some 36 years later, she's back at her home track in Langley, this time with her daughter Sophie in tow. Put your hands together and welcome Martine Smith to the first ever Canadian BMX Hall of Fame.